The Abercrombie Kids Summer Sale is in full swing, with up to 50% off select styles for the season. Summer plans, vacation, and camp days are all covered, with new dresses, shorts, tees, and swim. Abercrombie Kids has the summer staples they need and the looks that they want to wear. Shop in-store, online, or in the app. Offer applies to select styles as indicated. Discount applied at checkout online.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
Hello and welcome to you. This is Hear Her Sports, the Female Athlete Podcast, and I am your host, Elizabeth Emery. Joining me in today's episode is English professional golfer Georgia Hall. Georgia started playing innocently enough at 7 years old. She does tell us that story. What Georgia doesn't mention in our conversation is that she quickly found success, winning the English Girls Under-13 Championship in 2009, and the next year winning the Under-15 title. There is so much more to her amateur career, including a win at the 2013 British Ladies Amateur Golf Championship. Georgia did turn pro in July 2014 and then won her first professional title in September at the Open Generale de Strasbourg. Her first major championship win was at the 2018 Women's British Open. For us, Georgia has some interesting stories about her life as a professional athlete, including being appointed member of the Order of the British Empire in the 2019 birthday honors for services to golf. One of the highlights of Georgia's season is the upcoming AIG Women's Open, which will be staged in Wales for the very first time. The tournament will take place at the Royal Porthcawl Golf Club from July 31st through August 3rd. It is a course Georgia likes a lot. I know that because we talk about what kind of courses she likes. Think raw with some real weather. I love talking to Georgia about all that. Check out her show notes at hearhersports.com for more info on the Women's Open. Mostly what I loved about this episode is hearing about some of the enticing things about golf. What makes it interesting and challenging? Small details like dew on the grass. Those are the kind of details that make a sport fun. Let's meet Georgia Hall and hear about them. Well, hi, Georgia. I really appreciate you're here. I gather your day is really packed, so thanks for taking the time to be on Hear Her Sports. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to it.
Well, I don't talk to many golfers, and I don't know that much about golf. What would you like me most to know about your sport? Like, what's important to you about it?
I think that it's a very individual sport and it's very challenging mentally. You don't ever get one shot repetitively. Everything's different and your mindset's different every day. And it's really you against a golf course. And I think there's so many factors that can go into playing good golf and what makes a good, golfer and an athlete. And it's a lot of outside influences involved in golf as well. So it is definitely different to most sports.
So that's interesting that you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that I sort of keyed into when I was doing research. And, I think maybe as a casual viewer, I wouldn't have known this, but the dampness of the grass matters. And obviously the wind matters, but there's all this stuff that matters that I wouldn't have considered.
Yes, the weather, even the temperature can affect how far the ball's going. Even dew in the morning affects the ball and the spin rate on the golf ball. The grass length, on the golf course. It's amazing just how many things you kind of have to know, and it's kind of like a science as well. So it's all things you learn throughout your time, but it does take a few years to get the hang of it.
And so when you get to a new tournament, how do you assess all that stuff? What do you do?
First off, I look at the weather app and see how much wind's going to be there during the day and what times of day. and also what is the wind direction. That's very important. South, southeast, things like that. And then I always find out, what the grass type is. So there's different types of grass that we play on, and that depends on whether the ball's going to spin more, how fast the ball will release from the fairway when you hit it. And then the dew on the green, even like a morning tea time, some places around the world where you get a lot of dew kind of sits on top, and that kind of takes the spin off the golf ball. So it kind of slides over the surface instead of gripping. And it's just like things like that all make a big difference, and it does actually save you shots out there.
You're sort of intriguing me now in golf.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start playing.
Hopefully.
One of the things I did hear you talk about, and I don't remember where, sorry, is that you like natural raw golf. I think I'm quoting you. I mean, what does that mean?
I like there's different types of golf courses. So you get very pristine, neat golf courses. They look very pretty. Everything's been cut perfectly. There's not loads of wind out there. Or you get kind of natural, raw links golf. Golf started back in Scotland, and you get those golf courses where the rough is very like messy looking, and you get the bushes growing, overgrowing, and the natural kind of humps and bumps of the green and the fairway. Nothing's been flattened down or made to look pretty. That's the way it was years and years ago. So that's kind of what I mean by like natural raw golf.
And what do you like about that?
I like it because you have to use your imagination a lot more regarding different shots. You can play one shot like 5-6 different ways, but sometimes, especially in America or places like that, there's only kind of one or two ways to play a shot, or where to land it. There's so many humps and bumps on the greens. In the raw side of golf, it can make things tricky, and a lot of times when you are playing links golf, you have to factor in a lot worse weather. So like the wind and the rain and the temperature makes a bigger difference in the UK than it would in America, I think, or most of America.
And how did you start playing golf? You were really young, right? Like 7?
Yeah. When I was 7, my dad took me to my local driving range, and I used to play every Sunday in a kids club, and the winner of that little competition at the end won a chocolate bar. So that was my first incentive.
So your dad was a golfer?
He used to play. He was a fairly kind of decent amateur, played off a low handicap. And then I'm the first child, so he kind of took me with him at that time, and that's how I got into it.
What was it like playing as a kid? Like how did you learn how to play?
Well, just going along with my dad, and the kids clubs were an hour on a Sunday, so I got taught by just the coaches there. And just going to the range. I went to the range a lot and just hit loads of balls. And this golf's a lot about repetition and doing what feels comfortable to you, because everyone swings it differently. So there isn't really one way to teach golf.
As a kid, when you were playing with your dad, would you do the 18 holes? I mean, it seems like a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. 9 holes most of the time. And then I would join kind of kids' competitions to try and get your handicap down. And ended up playing for, the England amateur team when I was like 13, 14. And the county teams, they were a lot of fun. Had some good friends on that, and just end up playing 36 holes a day, 5 days in a row.
Wow.
13, 14, yeah. I was tired after that week.
And it sounds like you traveled a lot really early on, because you did get good pretty early on.
Yeah, I travelled a lot, like in the UK for sure. But and then when I turned pro at 18, that's when you really start travelling on your own, or you kind of been let out into like the wide world then, and see what professional golf's really about.
Did you consider other sports?
I did when I was like 12, 13. I always played in, cricket, football. I like badminton, I like cross country. So I done a lot of that, but then it was quite apparent to me that I had to choose one. At that time I was, getting somewhere with golf, and being invited to play in tournaments and teams. So I chose that one.
What did you like about golf?
I liked that it was very extremely individual. I like teams, but I just got a bit bored standing there waiting for the ball to get passed to me or something. So I wanted to always be the one hitting it or thinking about the next shot. So I think that's the main reason why I took to it so easily.
It's impressive that you started the Georgia Hall Academy to help other youngsters, I don't know, learn golf and play.
Yeah, there's not many academies near me or down in the south of England, and I had a friend that wanted to start one, and I just thought it was a great idea. So I went along to the opening and had input on how it looked, and obviously it's very important to me that that younger generation, especially in my area as well, it's just so nice to see way more boys and girls playing golf than when I was that age. What's
your goal for that academy?
Just to get more people into golf, I think, definitely. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have to do it seriously, but just to enjoy it and get to know that golf can be fun, and it doesn't have to be elder generation kind of view. So that's why I kind of wanted to be a part of it as well, and I wanted to support like the areas down by where I'm from.
Yeah, golf never strikes me as a youngster sport. I think of.
I get that. Yeah, and I think that's looked at by a lot of people, but especially 20, 30 years ago as well. It was kind of looked at more than it is now. I think it definitely is getting a lot better and improving on that aspect of things. And the more younger people play it, and the more like it's on TV, the media coverage, and more big events we have, I think the more people will get involved and get interested, and then hopefully see some of them on tour one day.
I was telling a friend that I was going to be talking to you, and she said, "Isn't golf like a totally male-dominated sport?" I mean, I sort of think a lot of sports are male-dominated sports, but is it?
I mean, it's definitely. I would say it's one of them for sure. Yeah, I think that it's more people watch men's golf than women's golf.
Okay.
And I'm hopefully want to be like a part of that helps change it. And I mean, when I came on tour 10 years ago, it's massively improved. Like so much. I can't begin to describe, and I think in another 10 years it would be the same amount of improvement. And I understand that people want to see men hit the ball such a long way, but I think that also I've heard that a lot of people prefer to watch women's golf because they can resonate more on how far we hit it, and they like seeing the rhythm of our swings, and see like the women from all around the world come to the world's biggest events to compete. And I think it's just seen by the amount of crowds we have in the majors that it's just growing all the time.
You said that you've seen a lot of improvement. Like, is there something that stands out that you've seen?
Even like where I'm from and in England and my county and England golf, there's just so like the players at my age back then are just way better standard than it was back in the day. And then also with increase of prize fund, increase of media coverage, and the channels it's all the big majors are on are just like triple the amount that we did have when I first came on tour. And the companies involved and sponsoring the events and being title sponsor of the events. It's just we have such a big range of women golfers nowadays that we have different companies from all around the world want to be a part of it.
I want to talk about your training, but before that, I know that you travel a lot and have a busy training schedule, competition schedule. What are you doing outside of golf?
I enjoy going to the gym. I like going believe it or not, I like going for walks. It's probably my favourite thing to do, even though I walk kind of most of my life on the golf course. But I really like just like country walks, listening to music, going for like brunch. I really like food, maybe a bit too much, but I love going for like a brunch and like finding cool spots to sit and eat. So yeah, that's kind of my things. Maybe a bit boring, but I kind of like the simple things.
Do you actually live in you have a place to live or do you travel? That's a weird
Oh, I
question.
know.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, I kind of called it a storage unit. It's just where I keep everything. Unfortunately, not there as much as I would like, but yes, I do. Well, I have two places I live, which probably should just have one the amount I'm there. But one's really handy for my golf course and the airport. And, I'm not really from a big airport either. So I'm kind of 2 hours south of that. So I have a home where my family are from as well, and where I'm from, which I still go to. And one's near the beach. So it's pretty nice. I go to the beach a lot in the summer when I'm home.
You mentioned that you like food. Do you have to think about nutrition a lot?
Not as much as I should either. I've tried to do that. I've tried to do it in the past, and I've accepted I'm just not that person who would just eat a salad a lot and things like that. So I like food way too much. I like carbs way too much and things like that. So
I like a good carb.
Yeah. So yeah, not really, but I try to keep on top of it if I feel like I'm divulging too much into things I shouldn't be eating.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your training. Again, I don't know that much about golf. Like, how do golfers train? Like, what do you have a cycle during the year? Do you strength train?
I think it all depends on the player. Every player is very different on how much they want to practice. I would say that I sometimes, but back in the day, I didn't practice as much as I probably or a regular maybe LPGA player would. But I find that I come into events therefore a little bit fresher and a little bit more kind of excited to get going. So on my off weeks, I probably practice play 3 times a week. I like playing 9 holes, maximum 18 if I'm with some friends. But then, I kind of do a range session here or there for an hour and some putting practice. And then on my off weeks, I kind of go to the gym maybe like 3-4 times a week. I try to when I'm away at tournaments, but it's very tiring. So I try and keep that to a minimum.
I mean, like my impression with golf is there's like tiny nuances in swing and stuff. Do you work on that? Is that what you're doing at the range?
Yeah, there's on the range, there's tiny little things you can change, and a slower backswing or setup. Setup's very important in golf. So your alignment, your grip, your posture, they're the things that can really make a difference. But I'm not really one that likes changing. So I don't really like to change golf clubs or change my swing that much, especially if I feel quite confident with it.
Is there a season? Like, do you take time off at a certain time of year?
Yeah, February to November is the season.
Okay.
So December, January is when, if you want to take time off, you can. And I tend to take about 6 weeks off without touching the club.
And what do you do during that time?
I have been on holiday for a week here or there in the past, but I don't really, because I'm away so much, I just want to be at home. Right. So I'm mostly at home, or I'll go and see a family or friends, and I don't do too much. I like doing house stuff, so like interior things, or like changing a room, or redoing a bathroom, like things like that I'm quite into. So I tend to try and get any home things done on the time I have.
For all those days that you're at home.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It's just viewing.
Right. You mentioned that you do strength training 3 or 4 times a week. Like what's important for golf?
I think most of all is flexibility and balance, but a lot of times it's about not getting injured. So it's kind of we do these things more not to get injured than to have strength. So but I do like running. I quite enjoy running, so I'll go for a run here or there a couple of times a week.
I know you're a pro, and so you're very good, but you must have something that you're very specifically working on right now.
Yes, probably. I would say chipping and putting are the things that I'm just trying to improve here or there. But I mean, every week there's something to improve, and I'll go out on the golf course and think, I've got this. This is going well, and then you spend your time working on something else, and then that one goes a bit. So it's always, there's always something.
On Instagram, I saw that you had some sort of like a camera tool. It looked like maybe it was a distance measure. And this is not a product promotion on my end, but like, what was that thing and how do you use it?
Oh, it's yes, it basically tells you the yardage. We are allowed it in most tournaments now, and you zap it at the flag, and it tells you how far away it is. So it's a lot easier than guessing or pacing out the yardage. So it kind of saves
cool.
a bit of time for pace of play.
Yeah, that's cool. Are there other cool training tools?
Yes, there is. I've got it's called like putting device where it's this bar that you put on the green, and it's like makes a noise and the light flashes, and it kind of tells you like a good speed for your stroke, because sometimes I struggle with the tempo of my stroke, and it makes a good noise, and I end up just like saying it in my sleep.
And you mentioned when we first started talking about the mental aspect of the game, and to me that seems like one of the most difficult things, like to be so focused, the individual pressure of each shot. Like, what is that like?
Yeah, it can be very, very draining sometimes.
Yeah.
But you always get a different lie, a different shot, and the wind, and it's definitely always something to navigate through. But a lot of experience helps with that, and what shots you don't like. So, for example, the downhill lies, side hill lies with me, I'm not that great on, and I kind of that makes you try and find that on the driving range when you're practicing and trying to work that out. There's a lot of different shots that you can have out there, so you can't really stop thinking for a minute. That's why it's sometimes they say the hardest time is the time in between hitting the next shot.
How do you deal with that kind of pressure? I mean, do you prepare for that? Do you practice?
I think it mostly comes from experience, from being under pressure and going down the last few holes in the lead or one shot off the lead, and you don't know how you're going to feel like until you get to that moment.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the more times you can put yourself in that position, then the better you feel the next time. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a comfortable feeling, but it's kind of a good feeling because you care.
Yeah. Well, that's true. One of the things that you said in our sort of pre-conversation was that you wanted to stay more present in the last couple of holes and not overthink. Can you describe that a little bit more?
Yeah, so sometimes I've gone down the final hole kind of tied for the lead, or I have this 6-footer to get in the playoff, and I end up kind of thinking, what if I miss this? What if I don't get in a playoff? Or, what hole's the playoff hole? Kind of, instead of actually trying to read the putt and just focus on the putt and whatever happens, happens. And I found myself thinking about that occasionally. So I've been reading, a couple of books that helping me kind of with that mindset and know that, everyone's the same, to know that I'm not the only one kind of that thinks that. It's quite reassuring.
On Hear Her Sports, I talk often about confidence. And recently I spoke with a sailor who sort of flipped that around in terms of the language and called it believing in herself. Like, what are your takes on confidence and how you sort of aim to have that?
It's a massive thing with golf.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it's extremely, extremely important to have. And sometimes you go through like roller coasters and you don't have it, and it's quite hard to come out of. I think people say, you can have confidence, but you can't have confidence unless you see certain shots and see certain shots go the way you want them to. And until that happens, it's very hard to have that confidence. So I think you do that by going through like the process of every day trying to achieve something, not look at the long picture. And I think that's like the key to like gaining confidence.
And what's next for you?
I have a run of 3 events coming up in another week or so in America. And then it's European swing, which I'm excited for. So just at home at the moment for another week and just get ready to go away.
How do you manage being away so often and being on the road and, not being lonely or whatever is important?
I've been going away for like 10, 11 years. So it can get quite lonely out there, and a lot of hotel room Netflix and delivery of food and things like that. It's a lot more enjoyable when you're playing well. You kind of don't mind it as much. But I kind of, getting on a plane quite a lot for 10, 11 hours is quite grueling, I must say. And it's probably my least enjoyable part of the job.
Do you hang out with the other competitors?
I hang out with another English girl sometimes when I'm over there. I have, friends or family occasionally come to watch, or my manager or things like that. So kind of sometimes it's nice in the evenings to go out with other people and have dinner and talk about things, not golf.
I often think about the quote. I think it was Chris Everett who said, after she finished her career, she was able to go to places that she had visited and never really seen because, she was so focused on her sport.
Yeah, but I must say, I think when I stop, I don't think I'll be going far. I've done my traveling.
Yeah. Do you have bigger goals? Like, what are your goals?
I would love to be back in the world top 10. That would be great. I think individually for tournaments, there's some tournaments I would love to perform, good results out of being contention maybe. I would love to, I think just that feeling of being in contention the last day, I think that's all every player's looking for really, regardless of the result.
You were awarded an MBE. What was that like? Was there a celebration? Was it cool?
Yeah, it's awesome. I took my mum and my nan there a few years ago now, and it was just awesome to meet like Prince Charles and be in Buckingham Palace. And I remember getting the letter through the door, and I thought it was a joke. It's just like you just never imagine that a letter to come through the door like that. So it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
And for the rest of 2025, you said you had some big tournaments coming up. What are you looking forward to most?
Looking forward to the European Swing, Evian in France. I kind of like that event. It's a major coming up. And then the Irish Open, which will be pretty cool for me. I played that last year, and I think, it's a decent condition golf course, and we get a lot of support in that one. And then the Scottish Open and the AIG Women's Open obviously are two big events that are right back to back, and obviously close to home for me, and get some great home support. So I'm really excited to go and play that in July, August time.
Well, I'm going to look forward to following you as well now that I know more about golf. Is there anything that I should have asked you?
I think we covered everything to do with golf. Your questions are very thorough. Yeah, very good.
Well, good.
But it's everything about golf. I think it was great.
Well, one of the things that you said when in the audio that you sent me was that you like to be asked about yourself. Like, what do you wish people asked you about yourself?
I think that it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love playing, and I know sometimes the first thing people ask is just like, "Oh, how's your golf?" They don't always ask, "How are you?" I just like things like that. Yeah, but I understand it's kind of the nature of what I do, and it comes with the job. But I think we're all human at the end of the day, and not just kind of robots with the golf side of things. But I think it's easy to look at like a TV screen and then think everything's that easy when it's not.
I often wonder about the sports that have huge followings. Like, I mean, you have a ton of Instagram followers, and I just can't imagine what that is like. And sort of in relation to your previous answer, you are so visible. That must be a difficult part of being an athlete in a sport that's so popular.
I mean, it's... Sorry, what was the question?
I guess sort of in relation to what you were saying about people not saying, like, how are you? There is this public persona, for example, for all your Instagram followers. So, I mean, are you that person? Are you somebody else? Do you separate the two?
No, I'm definitely that person. Yeah, I'm the only one who has access to my Instagram. Yeah, and that's why I like it that way, because anything I do on there, I like it to be like me and not put on or anything. But I do make it primarily golf. Yeah, because I think that's what people are there following me for golf. So yeah, that's kind of. But to be honest, I'm not massively into the whole social media side of things. I kind of like sometimes would do it after a tournament or things like that related to my sponsors. But I kind of like living like a normal life away from that.
And what do you plan on, or do you have any plans on post golf?
Not a lot, to be honest with you.
Oh, and one of the questions that I meant to ask you when we were talking about the Georgia Hall Academy is, do you get there that much and do any coaching with them? Any work with them?
I visit it when I'm at home, which isn't a lot.
Right.
So I've been there a few times. But I like seeing the juniors. But something I will definitely not be doing is coaching. Yeah, or
Not for you.
definitely not for me. No, I struggle coaching myself. So let alone someone else. But I don't know. I don't think much to do with golf. Maybe some, going to golf tournaments. In UK or things like that. But I don't think anything heavily involved with golf, because I've kind of, at that point, I would have done it for quite a while, and it'd be nice to kind of live normally and kind of wake up in the same bed every day kind of thing.
Right.
Definitely won't be traveling anyway.
Yeah. The academy is for both boys and girls, but you have indicated that you're interested in supporting girls. Like, what is needed to get more girls into golf?
I think if they just come to watch some events in their local like counties, I think that would be great. I think having like the parents take them would be awesome. The media coverage that has increased over like the last 5-6 years has been a massive help to that. I remember going to my like county end of year presentation to give some prizes out a few years ago, and there was like 50 girls in the county there, and when I was there back when I was 12, there's like 15 of us. So
yeah.
So even just seeing that was a big surprise, and it's just really great that that keeps growing all the time. And yeah, as you know, there's a lot more men that play golf than women, so I think that's why, like, being like a woman golfer, that I try and get more girls into it, because I think that this like older generation view that people have is just not really the case anymore.
It makes such a difference when you're not the only girl playing something, to have some other friends.
Yeah, it does, and I think it depends on the person and the child as well, because there was only one other girl that played it when I was like 12 or 13, but I didn't really mind, because I saw it as like a challenge to try and like beat the boys. But I understand that some girls need other girls like them and to have a bit more relevance to it. So it definitely helps having more involved.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. It's been great talking to you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Georgia, for being on Hear Her Sports. It was so great to learn a little bit about golf and find some appreciation for it, those little nuances. And thank you for listening. If you are new to Hear Her Sports, find all of the episodes at hearhersports.com. A perfect place to start is the Favorites playlist, which you can get to from the Playlist menu drop-down tab. On the Favorites list, you'll find my interviews with cross-country ski great Jessie Diggins, the founder of the first ever women's sports bar, the Sports Bra, Jenny Wynn, founder of Flash Foxy, Shelma Junn, Olympic marathon medalist Molly Seidel, and NCAA basketball ref Natasha Kami. And there's more. Also on the website, find ways to donate through Buy Me a Coffee or directly with a credit card, PayPal, or Venmo. There's also a page with our fabulous affiliate partners like Do Yoga With Me and Bookshop. Go to the donate or support tabs on our website at hearhersports.com. Well, that's it for now. I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.